So as y'all know, YouTube is kind of a new venture for me, and the reasoning kind of behind why I want to do it is that I feel like there's just not a lot of information out there about the industry and how to get into it and just all the different insecurities that a lot of people feel. So I kind of want to take you through my journey, since this is kind of the start of my YouTube journey and relaunching it. I kind of want to start from the beginning so that as all the information comes out, it's kind of in an order of how I've been able to kind of go through it so that you guys can understand better about the things that I've experienced that have helped me grow to the position that I'm in today. What got me into hair, if you guys have been to any of my classes, then you might have heard a story about how I got into hair, but I've actually never really talked about it. So I kind of wanted to share it with you guys, for those of you who are in different parts of the world that don't have as much access to attend any of these seminars or shows. I hope this information kind of helps you understand the process and what I went through, and that it wasn't always really easy. There was a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of things that I had to go through to kind of learn how to stand on my own 2 feet. Let me take you back. In college, I went to 2 years of college. I originally went to learn business admin. I felt like it was something that most people fall into when you don't know what you want to do. It was the first thing my family told me to do as well. I got into there for the first year, did all my classes that you generally would take to work toward the business admin certificate, degree, or whatever it is that you get from that. And then I realized that it wasn't something that I loved. By my second year of college, I realized after taking a bunch of different electives and different types of classes, I fell into psychology. I wanted to pursue being a psychiatrist, but I knew that the schooling for that was going to be a really long time. From what I remember, it was about a 15-year process if I went to med school and all that. Honestly, I loved school, I love learning, but I think when it came down to learning about things I wasn't interested in, I thought I was actually not as smart. I scored low my whole life in reading comprehension, and I thought maybe I just have horrible memory. What's going on with me that I just can't read and remember what I'm reading about? Now, being an adult, I've realized that I enjoy reading things that I actually want to read, and those things I can absorb better. Before we go into how books have kind of helped the course of my life and helped the course of me building an awareness and becoming stronger in my mindset, because all of that will apply definitely to work, I want to take you to the journey through how I got to hair first. I'll save that for a different video. That is a really key and crucial point in my life that has helped me unlock things that I never thought were possible. My family. My family did not support the idea of me doing hair. My mom didn't understand it. In fact, the first thing she said was, "Why do you want to work in a hole in the wall all your life?" For my family, they only know the small little spots that they used to take me to when I was a kid that would charge $7 to $15, and it was like a rundown little place, but those were the kind of places she took me to, so she only knew of those experiences. Her story behind doing hair was based on just what she was able to take us to when we were little. When I made the choice to get into the hair industry, my family actually completely disconnected from me. They did not want to know any updates of anything that I was doing. It was tough for sure because, growing up, I was really close to my family. So to have them not support something I wanted to try, and this is not something I wanted to do, this was something I wanted to try. I wanted to take a break from academics. I had found out that going to beauty school was a year long if you went full time. That's kind of the route I took. And I was scared of it because my aunt had pursued pharmacy something, and that took about 7 years for her. And then she ended up completely changing it. So that was kind of the fear that I had, that I was going to pursue something that I didn't love or didn't enjoy, and then I had to backtrack and start over again later. I figured, okay, doing hair is 1 year. Let me see. It's a break from academics. Let me see what happens. And that's kind of how I went about it. So I get into the program. I had to choose between a brand name school and then a community college. And the price points were either $22,000 or was it $4,000. I went to the community college. What I could afford. When I got into the industry, I didn't even have a car. I was sharing a car with my mom, and I had used all of my money savings at the time, which was not much, but at the time I thought it was a lot. Around maybe $4,500 that I was supposed to put as a down payment for my car. And I remember, and I was like, okay, I want to get a car. I don't have a car right now, but see, I was already like 20 years old. Felt like I was going pretty slow in life at the time. But I had used my savings from the retail jobs that I was working and literally used that to buy my kit for school and put me through my first year. I actually wasn't even able to get a car until my second year of being licensed. It's just crazy, like if you just commit to something that you love, like if you want to pursue something, you have to go full force. You gotta go full force, because if not, how are you gonna know if it's worth it? You know, giving your all is also going to test you and also allowing you to figure out, like, is this for me? Do I actually want to do this? Because if it is something that you want to do, the investment is in yourself. So you're going to get the results for yourself. And if it doesn't turn out to be something you wanted to do, at least you gave yourself a chance to figure that out. So there's no loss there. You're going to learn things along the way, and it's always going to be your perspective. Now, when I think about it, and it's been 10 going on 11 years since I went to school, I just remember now, what if I had listened to my family? What if I didn't try? Like, I would have never known that it was something that I would love, you know? And I think that's kind of the misconception of finding this passion, right? You find this passion like it's supposed to fall in your lap, or you try a couple things and then realize, oh, this is my passion. It just clicks right away. But that's not really how it always works, because when I think about getting into the hair industry, I didn't feel passionate about it at first. It was just like, okay, this is something fun that I enjoy, so I'm gonna do it for a while. And then it became a passion. The practicing, the habits that I was forming daily turned it into something I cared about deeply. But at first, I would have never known. It was just kind of something to do that was passable for that time frame, that it was fun and I enjoyed doing it and I can do this for a while. But then I realized that the passion came from loving how I could help other people through a service. Giving these people a haircut that they were shocked that they could have. For feeling like somebody understands them. Because I remember when I was growing up, all my haircuts that I've ever had, I hated, because no one ever listened to what I wanted. It was always something else that they wanted to give me or what they wanted to recommend, and it was totally not what I wanted. When I switched roles and now I'm being able to give that service to other people, I always remembered, like, I'm gonna go the extra mile for these people, because I remember what it was like not having any good experiences with those haircuts. Going through the process of working, I then grew a passion for servicing people, for grooming, any kind of short hair. It was fulfilling for me because I was able to pass an emotion through a haircut. And it became something that I was like, you know what? I feel like I could do this for a really long time, even if they didn't pay me, because I love it that much. And even when it was shitty and I had to go through so many different obstacles to kind of get to where I am today, because I loved it so much that even when I wasn't making any money, I was able to still push through those lows, because that's what it takes sometimes. You're never gonna have a path that's just easy flown, that's just always growing. Especially for hair, it was like waving for me for a while until it started to level out and maybe consistently grow, because I got better at business. I got better at understanding my steps, that as I'm moving through it now, I'm a little bit more aware, versus when I started, I'm kind of just new to the whole scene, so I'm not really paying attention to all different things that are happening around me. So that happens. My family at the time still wasn't sure. You know, for my mom, it's really new for her. She's actually from Cambodia. They came here and escaped. I forgot how old she was. She was pretty young when she escaped Cambodia to be able to have a sponsor and be flown into California, thankfully. So my entire life of being blessed to live in SoCal is literally by chance. You know, I don't blame her for not understanding. It's definitely something new, especially for a lot of cultures. We are taught that we are supposed to go to school, supposed to get degrees, and degrees is supposed to equal job security and pay. The things that I've experienced, the people I've talked to, there's so much more you can utilize through experiences. My family just couldn't let go. Like, even when I was when I was doing hair for the first few years, it was really hard, first of all, without their support, but secondly, they had still kept asking, you should go to school. You should go to school and get a degree so you can make sure that, you know, you're financially good in your adult life and that you'll be fine. And, you know, of course, as a family, they just worry about you and they want the best for you. So now fast forward to 11 years, it took a while for them to recognize that it was actually working. But the only way I was able to show them was that by doing and showing them all the things that I was starting to accomplish, then they started to believe, like, okay, now I see why this is actually working for you. And I get a lot of questions all the time in DMs where different areas where they're like, they want to pursue hair, but their parents or family members, whoever's taking care of them, doesn't allow them to go down that road. And it's not an easy road, as there is in any job, actually, to be honest. But as a creative, like, a lot of the stuff does fall on you because you're kind of in charge of yourself, of your schedule, and how you want to customize your life. I definitely would not have had it another way. I feel like going through this journey has taught me so much more about me, has taught me so much more about people, about working with different types of energies, dealing with different types of people. It almost takes me back to the topic of being a psychiatrist, because I think when you are a barber or hairdresser, you guys probably already know this feeling as well, is that people do vent to you because you're kind of a neutral ground for them. You are listening to stories, you are giving them advice, you are consulting on how they want to look. Like, it's beyond where you're just cutting hair. And for me, that's also another fulfilling thing, is that you can change somebody's mood if they're having a bad day, if they're going through something. Like, you have that ability in that 1 hour session or 8 hour session, depending on what service you're giving them, and you're able to kind of listen to them, because I think at the end of the day, people just want someone to talk to. Keeping all that stuff inside your head, like, it's not always the best thing. And what we do is it's great. I just want you guys to know that even if it's hard, but it's something you feel like you're interested in, you have to go for it, because there's a lot of friends that I know too from when I went to school with that turned 26, 27 and felt like they have been doing shit wrong because they followed what their mom wanted to do. You don't want to be that person. Just follow your interests. If you always follow your interests, it's always going to lead you to something you like. And then something you like doing, you're going to be able to develop a passion out of it, especially if it's aligned with your heart and you know what it feels like. It's like me doing women's hair versus me doing men's hair. I did women's hair first. I didn't love it. It was like questionable that this was the hours and hours and hours that I was spending every day to go into it. And then right when I switched it over into men's hair, I was like, this feels right. This feels fun. It was an instant switch in how it made me feel. And so I stuck to that. And I just kept pushing every single day. I worked hard at it. I did everything I could to understand it better and clearer and deeper, and everything that I could ever think of. I was trying to explore any kind of way to learn how to make it better. I swear, in 10 years of doing just short hair, it flew by so fast that I'm like, holy shit, 10 years has already passed since then. So just wanted to give you guys my perspective and story on how that happened for me and what I had to face with my family in order to kickstart this journey. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and please leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I go off a lot on feedback. It means a lot to me because it kind of helps me figure out what direction or area I need to go in deeper or talk about so that it could bring value to whoever is watching.